Hola, bon dia.
This week we pushed through some setbacks with our barn door construction and low morale.
We did more beachcombing and gardening this week. We also started working on the flat roof to control some water issues we've been having.
As we mentioned in last week's video, we purchased a router to make the rabbet joints a little bit easier and more accurate for the barn door. So, originally we planned to get the Einhell router, but the price that we saw on the shelf was not for the router. Not sure what it was for. It was directly below the routers on the shelf, but it came up at like 80 euros. So we decided to go with the cheaper one that we saw at Bricomarché. So this one was $34.99. It's, I guess, the store brand. I have never heard of this brand before, but hopefully it's going to work well. The next step is to add the cross bracing on my workbench. When I first built it, it was very wobbly, and I kept saying I need to make cross bracing for the legs. So I'm going to do that today. So you can see the crossbar on the side and the reinforcement at the back. So it's already quite a lot more stable. Well, that was short-lived. This machine lasted 1.5, maybe 2 hours maximum. So it's going back.
Unfortunately, the router died after 2 hours, so now we're back to square one of using the table saw.
Yeah, so we had, a day or two of low morale in general, and the weather didn't really help. It was warmer, which was nice, but it was super windy. So everything we were trying to do outside was just made more difficult.
Blown in your face.
Yeah, like sand and dirt blowing everywhere, and yeah, it just wasn't pleasant. All right, so the push block that I started making yesterday, the main part of it, the glue is dry and cured, so I took the clamps off, and then the smaller piece that was left over, I measured 1.5 centimeters from the edge of the block in and squared up a line. So I've now glued this piece flush with that line, and I'm just going to clamp it in place. This edge here sticks out a little bit past the block. The reason for that is when you line everything up gluing it, you're never going to get it completely lined up. So I've purposely left it a bit longer so that I can just run it through the table saw again and clean it up. What you doing?
Grinding.
Grinding?
Yeah.
What you grinding?
Grinding your handle.
Ooh, perfect. Awesome.
Happy with that?
Yeah.
There you go. Is that your work gown? It's not a formal gown, it's a work gown. Is that what you're working in today?
Yes, I just have a little bit left to do to finish my push block. for the table saw, and I didn't feel like changing, so.
Don't ever change.
Exactly. So Grant cut down one of the handles from an old door for me so that I can use it on my push block. So I'm just going to pre-drill and attach that now. So now I'm ready to attempt the rabbet joint on the table saw again. And this will allow me to put pressure on the plank, keeping it flush along the fence, and also to put pressure down so that if any of the planks are slightly warped, I'm maintaining a consistent depth with my cuts. That's the plan. So we took another beach day and we collected more wood at Praia Osso de Baleia. And we actually saw some interesting information when I was researching the giant snail fossil things that we found last week. I came across an article that said that dinosaur footprints were also found at that beach. So of course we had to go back and try and find these dinosaur footprints. We did find one. It was from a megalosauropus from the Middle Oxfordian period.
Really?
Yes.
You remind me of a dinosaur eating a lemon.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Real megalosauropus.
Good one.
Good one.
Good one. So yeah, we figured it's going to be like searching for a needle in a haystack. We're never going to find them. We found it actually within the first 5 minutes?
Yeah, pretty close to 5 minutes.
Yeah. So.
As I walked down the cliff, I was like, this is going to take forever. There it is.
Yeah, pretty much. So it was pretty cool. We tried to come a little bit more prepared this time. So we have a small handsaw and a hammer. So if we do find some wood on the beach, then we're a little bit more prepared to deal with it. Well, there was a piece along here. It is now gone. We didn't take it because it was very clearly one of the railings. So we don't want to take wood that is part of the structure for the beach. We just want to take stuff that is, washed up from the ocean and free for the taking.
Carrying my wood.
I see that.
Yeah.
Was that other pallet no good?
No.
Okay. Nice.
So these are good for doing just pieces of them, right?
Well, yeah, because we need to make a little side table. So shorter pieces are good.
And they're good for in between if you're making a bench, right?
Yep. Looks good. And I threw some pieces down. I found the one that was too long and dragged it down so we can cut it.
Yeah, so we can cut it to fit the car.
Yeah.
That's why I brought the saw.
Exactly.
Okay. That's
all right.
it. There's nothing else.
Okay. We got it all last time.
No.
So we're looking for dinosaur footprints, and I seem to have lost Grant. I don't know where he is. Just heard something.
Fell in a hole.
Fell in a hole.
cave over here. Only for skinny people.
I thought I heard some rocks like rummaging around over there. And that's how I lose him, because he finds like a crevice and he disappears. He has to go check everything out, and he's gone again.
So this week I continued working on my terrace wall. The rammed earth one I started a month ago. But it takes time.
It does.
And I'm not in a rush.
No.
It's the first terrace below the threshing circle, which we're going to probably put a herb garden in. And I'm putting a top piece on so we can grow strawberries in it too, like a trough.
Yeah.
And this is the new form, just 2 pieces of wood to put together to make the top of the terrace wall. That way in the middle here, when I do both sides, here and here, I'll be able to put strawberries in the middle. And I'm putting these in every meter, so eventually, you see this one, if I have to, I can put a teepee up to keep the strawberries from getting eaten from all the birds. So that one and that one I already did. And then there's the third one. So, yeah. And pretty super easy. And done. One section anyway.
So we started potting the plants from our kitchen garden because it's not getting enough sun. So we're moving the kitchen garden from the patio area over to the top terrace once he finishes it. So in the meantime, some of the plants just are not doing well in the shade. So we moved them to pots in the sun until we can move them to the new kitchen garden.
And I got the cement mixer out and started mixing my own soil mixes for the raised garden beds. We bought some bagged soil at the Agrologia, and then I just took some of our regular soil around and mixed it all together to give it more volume.
Yeah.
For our for the new pots too, for the carrot or for the ginger and turmeric.
Yes. And we went and got some more reed grass as well. So Grant has been using the reed grass and running it through our wood chipper to make mulch for the garden. We do need a lot more mulch.
Yeah, the reed grass is good because it's like an inert medium, so there's no weeds in it, anything like that, and it breaks down pretty quickly and adds nutrients eventually to the soil.
Yeah. And while he was collecting reed grass, I found some creeping myrtle beside the river, so I decided to dig some up. For my lady garden.
For your lady garden.
So the old kitchen garden will probably end up just being flowers. Basically anything that can survive mostly to full shade. So if anyone has suggestions of plants that like lots of shade, let us know in the comments because I don't have a lot of ideas what to plant there. I have some flower seedlings that are ready to transplant. So I have Sweet William and Zinnia. So both of them prefer full sun. but I don't want to take up space that we can use for edible plants. So I figure for now I'll just put them along the edge of this patio where all these weeds are growing. So I'm going to pull the weeds out and then see about planting some flowers in their place. What doing?
So these are the cuttlefish bones we collected from the beach, which are pure calcium carbonate.
Okay.
So I'm crushing them and adding them as a soil amender.
Cool.
So I'll add that to the soil I'm making in the cement
Hugel.
mixer.
Oh, okay. Oh, cool. All right.
So I'm just powdering it up. So when I plant tomatoes, I'll take a piece of this cuttlefish bone and put them at the bottom of the hole when we plant them.
Oh, okay, cool.
It'll prevent blossom end rot. So there's a tip for you.
I did not know that. And Grant's busy hoeing.
I'm on the corner hoeing.
So we're not sure what we're planting in here because it's mostly in shade. And so far, the plants that we have planted here are not really doing that well. So we need to find some shade-loving plants. So we found all of this creeping myrtle over by the river while Grant was collecting some reed grass for mulch. And I know it does well in dappled shade and it can tolerate full shade. These ones, if you see some of the flowers, are fairly pale and washed out in color because they were actually growing in full sun. Come on, Mavis. So I'm just trying to space them out so that they'll eventually just cover the whole area.
The golden sunlight in your hair.
So after our setbacks and frustration with the barn door construction, we decided to take a break from it temporarily. And we started working on some water ingress issues on the flat section of roof in between the house and the annex building. So that is something that needs to be corrected before we can start building the kitchen. We're going to start working on this small section of flat roof behind me. So you can see there's some puddles accumulated from last night's rain. It really didn't rain that hard, but there's already some puddles on the flat roof, and the water does end up going towards the house, and that whole section of the wall ends up wet. So we can't work on the kitchen until we correct the issue with water ingress. So we picked up these roof panels at the Brico Marché, and we're going to work on some framework and attach it to the wall as well as to the flat roof, and that will direct the water to the other side instead of into the wall. I want to figure out what this angle is against the wall, so I put a piece of wood flush with the front of the flat roof, and I'm just using the level as a ruler, so I have it flush against the wall and then transferring that same line onto the wood. So now I can check what that angle is on the chop saw, cut one end to that angle, and then measure the exact length to the other wall. Did that make sense?
Gina agrees.
Oh, right. Ladder's in the way. That's pretty good, I think. So we marked the placement and numbered all of the blocks, and we have them clamped into place. So Grant is now pre-drilling. So we have a mixed bag going here, whatever we have left over. You look pretty hot in that. It's a sexy look there.
All right, let's give her a go, see what happens. Right about there?
Yeah, that looks good. So we have a smaller. Oh, they're all the same.
Yeah, even loosen this, the thing, draw it right down.
Nice.
It ain't going nowhere. Oh, it ain't going nowhere.
Awesome. You're amazing.
Okay, now I gotta try to drill
See
this
if you
one.
can get in on that.
Oh, it's in the wood. It didn't go anywhere.
Excellent. That's all we needed. So I can take these clamps off then?
Yep.
So we have ripped down the 6x6s for the rafters so that we have enough. And we're going to rip down this piece that we found on the beach. So it is a 4 centimeter thick plank. So we're going to turn it into 4x4s to use for stringers. Grant has drilled the placement through the rafter, and I propped it up on a 6x6 so that it is flush at the top here. And then I used a pencil to mark the placement so Grant knows where to where to drill through with the hammer drill. So that's the space he has to work with. Not a lot. So that's what we have so far. We have one of the rafters bolted to the wall. We have the framework bolted at the front, bolted to the flat roof. And then we'll just continue every 50 centimeters with another rafter and make sure that they run straight. And then we can add on the roof panels. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed our video. Please give us a like. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe. And check out our shop. We will be having some new designs posted in the next week or two.
Similar to this is Christina's original design. You should check out my boobies.
So I created this, and we actually gave a few of these t-shirts to some coworkers before we left Canada. And I'm currently working on revamping this design. It's going to be pretty much it's the same concept, just to look a little nicer.
Boobies!
The boobies weren't fancy enough.
Okay, bye.